Good evening, SEC Nation, and welcome to SEC Live 32 from yours truly, Jackson Johnson. And here I have with me is the one and only himself, Peter Bartell, aka Pigskin Petey. You can give him a follow on @/Twitter where he brings that magic, those wonderful takes on the world of college football, NFL, NASCAR, and much more. And let me tell you something, folks, you're going to be in for a wild ride. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
Good. Ready to talk with you, Jackson. It's awesome listening to you. Subscribe, listen to Jackson wherever, whenever. He's elite. So, yeah, just good to talk SEC football and beyond tonight. It's a good day for Syracuse because Adrian Autry, our basketball coach, got fired. So I call that a good day.
Oh, wow. Like that is some breaking news right there. I'm not surprised they got fired though, because he was not getting Syracuse to where they were going.
Yeah. You remember the days we used to, if you like back in the 2000s and stuff, like Big East with Villanova, Georgetown, and all that, you used to not be able to see the court. Like you would buy a ticket. My dad would tell me how he would sit opposite end in the 80s with like Georgetown and stuff. You're just because it's in their football stadium. So it's you just can't even, there's a grandstand, there's a curtain, and you just sit and buy a ticket to get in the facility. To say you're in there, you can't actually see the game. Now you can see the game. That's where the program is. So anyways, yeah, celebration.
How did it feel, like, before we get to the SEC topics at hand, how did it feel getting to hear Sean McDonough throw out his puberty voice in March of 2009 for the Big East quarterfinals in the 6 overtime game between Syracuse and UConn?
Yeah, that was with Diefendorf, right? When it just kept going.
Yeah, until like 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that was a really good game. Like as a Syracuse fan, though, gosh, it was so early on the decline, if you want to call it that. But this was what, like, 06, you said it. So this is 3 years post national title with Carmelo Anthony and Jerry McNamara, because that was 2003.
Oh, my mistake. Yeah, March 2009. My mistake. Yeah, because
that's fine. But yeah, I mean, it was a really good game. Still, it was against UConn, who's a blue blood in college basketball, at least going back to the Big East. So, yeah.
Oh man,
I missed that. Even in football too, right? Like you think about the Big East, like we were talking before we came on, BC and Syracuse, and yeah, I kind of wish we were still a 1B conference in the Big East in football, right? Compared to like, look where we are now. Virginia Tech's been awful. They got James Franklin now, but they've been awful in the ACC. Syracuse been awful in the ACC. Miami just got good. West Virginia is a doormat of the Big 12. These are all Big East schools. Pitt, doormat of the ACC, they had a good year this past year with Narduzzi, but lifelong, like we've all been in the basement, relatively speaking. I'd rather be second tier, playing each other and keeping those regional rivalries going.
Well, and you were talking about 06 with Jerry McNamara taking on the Cinderella run in 06 of the Big East tournament, and right now he's coaching at Siena. And
that's who I agree. You can keep going. I agree. That's who I got my
Jerry
eye on.
McNamara to Syracuse men's basketball.
So
it's the guy after the guy,
right? It's technically Adrian Autry was, because Autry played for Boeheim too, and is also was a long-term assistant, like McNamara. Mike Hopkins was too. Mike Hopkins was our coach in waiting. Went to Washington, did not want to wait on the bench under Boeheim any longer as an assistant. Failed at Washington, so that worked out for us because we didn't have to take him on. But yeah, I got my eyes on McNamara too. It's a little early because he's year 2 at Siena. So you'd like a little more of a track record, especially like you said, at Syracuse. But I'm willing to hedge my bets, because if it works out, he's there lifelong. He ain't going anywhere.
There you go. And of course, we'll be starting off this show with what Dabo Swinney had to say about Ole Miss. And it was getting pretty ugly on the press conference over the weekend. And he was like going as far as to accuse Pete Golding of tampering. And this is the analogy he was using, where he says like having an affair on your honeymoon. Like he just went at it.
pulling out all the stops. I feel like it's just last ditch effort. He knows he's. I would say he's on the hot seat. Like you can't keep regressing. Keeping on regressing like he has been means not even bowl eligible next year, and he knows that. So like you're talking 4-8, 5-7 vibes potentially, even 6-6. That's not going to satisfy Clemson.
Oh.
So I think he's at the point now where he's just like, I'm just going to like say stuff because I have to, and it's kind of panic mode. That's how I see it. And we know, like, and I actually like his way of recruiting and developing and not really using the portal full scale, but to supplement, like Peter Woods, Kate Klubnik, right? Antonio.
Yeah.
Those are all like from freshman high school guys. And I really thought that continuity was going to pay more dividends. I picked them to win the national title this past year. But it didn't. And like, obviously the chemistry of having those guys, keeping them together is not the formula for him at Clemson. And it's unfortunate, but I think that's what, like, he's basically, I think, just like taking his anger out with these comments on other coaches. I'm not saying it wasn't true, but I'm also not saying not everybody does it, right? They all do. So,
true. Yeah, and this is probably what I was thinking about this because I was talking about this with my guy Matt Zimick at the USC channel and on Trojans Wire, College Wire. And I'm going as far as to compare Clemson from 2021 to now as like the Bobby Bowden era of Florida State from 01 to 09. Whereas like Florida State was whooping everybody's butt in 87 through 2000, right? And winning the ACC was like another day in the Ponderosa. But like winning the ACC from 2001 to 09 just didn't seem all that impressive. And it's the same thing with Clemson. Like they were winning in 2022. They were winning in 2024. But it wasn't really anything to really brag about. It was just something you're supposed to do. And now, like this year, well, this last season, 2025, you're losing to Duke football for the second time in 3 years. That's not a good look right there. That is a terrible look. And you lose your ball game for the first time in a long time, for the first time in forever in Clemson. It's completely nuts. And I'm just not. We know there's not going to be any more national titles, but I think are there going to be any more ACC titles for Clemson under Dabo unless he adjusts? No, and he's just not going to. It's just he should have retired the same year Nick Saban retired. You know, like how we see some of the cowboy movies, or kind of like the Magnificent Seven, where you see like Yul Brynner and Steve McQueen just move on to another town or just leave the village. Well, that's what Dabo should have done with Nick Saban. Just go be Steve McQueen and just go work at ESPN or ACC Network, honestly. Because honestly, he's just not going to adjust. It's going to wither down like the Mike Gundy era did at Oklahoma State. It's going to be like the last few years of Texas with Matt Brown.
Yeah.
The last few years of the Bobby Bowden era. That's it for Dabo at Clemson, I feel like.
You worded it perfectly, wither down. I just like that use of words. Like regressions are slow. They're slow. Look at one I point to is Miami with Butch Davis back in the early 2000s, I think. And he had them rolling, ready to win a national title with Ken Dorsey. They had so many studs. I forget who exactly was on that team besides Dorsey. Maybe Willis McGahee. But they were like locked and loaded, right? And then he leaves for the NFL for the Browns, and Larry Coker takes over, and the next year just wins the national title. Like just he was a figurehead on the sideline. That's all he was. They policed themselves, and and then but then you go on 3 or 4 years with that team, and I guess I call out Miami just because we were talking Big East. That was Big East days, so I remember it. I had a lot of fear every time Miami would come to Syracuse, mostly, but that team slowly regressed to the point where 3 or 4 years later, Coker got fired, and then you look at that and you're like, wait a minute, this team was killing the Big East, killing the national scene a few years ago. Yeah, they don't, regressions don't happen overnight, or at least it'd be even more concerning if they did, right? But like you have that talent, like you said, it's just slowly going to wither away. Like Peter Woods, he's awesome. 5-star out of high school. He has been individually performing largely, but it's not like just because he's there, he's not going to be there. But when he's no longer there, what are you going to replace him with? Because like you said, now the high schoolers are looking at that and saying, yeah, Clemson's got a track record now or 3 or 4 years of not performing. So they're going to replace him in theory. I'm just singling that position out with a 3 or 4-star suddenly, and then portal, he doesn't know how to use it because he hasn't been using it. So,
oh yeah. I mean, because it's like it's fine to be mad about the portal, and you don't have to like it, but you are going to have to utilize it sooner than later. And it's like you got to be like what Bear Bryant did after 1970, because he's like, okay, what I was doing in the 1960s from 1961 to 1966 is not working anymore.
Right.
We've been mediocre from 1967, 1970. So I got to try something out. I got to get a new offense, obviously, because my current offense isn't working. So what am I going to do? I'm going to ask Coach Darrell Royal for advice on what I ought to do. And I'm going to have my own version of the wishbone offense. Okay, Fred Akers knows what's up with the wishbone offense. No problem. I'll just tweak it a little bit. We'll be good to go. Boom. You see Alabama winning national title after national title and just killing the Tennessee Volunteers and just killing the Auburn Tigers, with the exception of Bama punt on December 2nd, 1972.
Yeah.
Where Auburn didn't score a touchdown on offense or defense, but got 2 touchdowns off block punts and got a field goal in the fourth quarter, all in the fourth quarter. Like, holy Toledo, 17 unanswered points.
The Clemson thing, I remember distinctly watching College Game Day back in 2021, and Herb Street was sounding off because the portal, the new rules of the portal. Mind you, people think, a lot of people, I know you know this, people think the transfer portal just came into existence in 2021 whenever they made that rule change. It did not. It's always been a thing. The rules changed. So with the new rules where you can just transfer whenever, however, Herb Street noticed very early on, after like the first cycle of the new portal rules, Dabo was one of only, I forget who the other one was, but he identified 2 coaches that did not use the portal for anybody besides graduate transfers. So like the freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and he called Dabo out and he said, Dabo better adapt or he's going to get left behind. And I remembered that. And now we fast forward 5 years and you mentioned it, withered away. Like we're talking about, Dabo is pretty much at this point left behind. So,
oh yeah, it's like the movie scene on Boogie Nights where Jack Horner from Boogie Nights is being told by the guy about like, hey, you gotta adjust the video. Be prepared for what's coming.
Right.
That's the same thing with Dabo Swinney, for college football. Adjust now or be left behind. As we're saying, adjust now or be left behind. And should have retired after 2023 or just left Clemson, just drink a margarita in the spring. No worries. And all you got to do is call games in college football on CBS, ABC, Fox, or NBC, something.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if I were Dabo, I would just go to calling games, because clearly college football is not when he was a kid back in the day. It's not when it was. It's like you can't always go by how when things were when you were a kid or how you want things to be. You have to go by what is and what isn't. Gotta be like Mr. Pink on Reservoir Dogs and just adjust. If everybody listens to Mr. Pink on Reservoir Dogs, everybody would be good to go.
And he's not the only one that is not adjusting. He's been in the news lately. So like Brian Kelly did not do a great job at adjusting, in my opinion, to it. Heck, Kirby Smart, I mean, he's not doing a horrible job, but it's not impacting Georgia as positively as I would have hoped it would, because I think a lot of us hope and wish for the old college football. pre-new portal rules, but like you said, it is what it is. You got to adjust. There's guys like freaking Signetti's obviously got it figured out. Ryan Day's doing pretty good with it. Like there's coaches that have figured out. Matt Rule's another one I was wrong on this year. Like I now question like how much is he adjusting? We know pre-new rules, Rule was killing it at Temple, at Baylor. You've said that on your show before. Like, and now it's TBD. He's been in the game for 2-3 years with the new portal rules. Like, yeah, it's different. It's like I've used the analogy before. Like you go to school for 20 years, not for 20 years. You go to school for 4 years, you become an accountant, right? A CPA. And then you've been a CPA for 15, 20 years. You've been groomed as an assistant. Now you're the VP, the president, the owner. If you have your own company, you got a staff under you. And then somebody comes to you and says, hey, like, let's just say you're the VP. Now your role is IT, cybersecurity. That's not your background, but instantly that's 90% of your job now. Accounting is now only 10%. Mm-hmm. That's what these coaches had to do. And Kirby Smart said it. He said his summers are now spent on the golf course politicking for NIL money. That's not why Kirby Smart, singular just example, got into coaching. You know, like he got into coaching to get into coaching.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, I'm seeing another quarterfinal loss for Georgia. And Georgia's going to have to keep in mind that you want to play for the regular season. Don't get me wrong. You want to have good seeding, but you can't just be going, oh, all I got to do is have a top seed, win the AC. I'm good. No. It's like people didn't learn from Miami's run to the national title, or Notre Dame's run to the national title, or Ohio State's run to the national title, or past year's history of the NFL, where you see like this 5 seed, this 6 seed, the 4, 3, 2 seeds just going over and winning it all.
Yep.
They got to adjust. Like yeah, I think Kirby will definitely have to adjust. Adabo's got to have to adjust. Adabo can't be on his sobbing session.
But I don't think, just so the audience understands where I'm going, I don't think Kirby's ever going to be as bad as Dabo is at any point record-wise. You would agree with that, right?
Oh, yeah, because Kirby's definitely looking at Dabo just kind of going, I don't want that to happen.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, that's a no. He's like, That's a no for me. But we'll definitely wait and see what happens. I wish Dabo nothing but awesomeness. I want to see him do well, but I just think he needs to just kind of quit going on these venting sessions. He's like the old man at the porch.
Yeah, that's it. That's all he's doing is going on venting sessions. But I said preseason, Jackson. Look, you all have your teams. I have my Syracuse. You're a Bama fan. You're an LSU fan, Florida State, whoever. Root for your team. But if your team doesn't win, we all, college football traditionalists, we'll call ourselves, need to root and should root for a team like Clemson, because Dabo was not using the portal. So therefore, if Dabo could have given a blueprint to say, hey, we did this with the freshmen we mentioned out of high school coming in and we had won it all, maybe coaches would look at that and say, there's value in continuity, camaraderie, and chemistry for 2-3 years that supersedes my guy that just had a good 2024 coming in, right? Just instantly plugging and playing into the offense. So therefore it devalues the whole camaraderie continuity thing. That didn't work out for us. But truly, like if you wanted the old portal rules and stuff like that, your best bet, if it wasn't your team, we're all going to be biased, is like root for a guy like Dabo at Clemson. I think one of the next best arguably is Signetti, because he didn't get high school guys, but like you look in that huddle, and besides Fernando Mendoza, maybe Elijah Surratt's a first-round draft pick at receiver. Those are all role players, 2-3-star guys. Curtis Rourke was a fifth-year Miami of Ohio QB last year, playing on a torn ACL the whole year, and then Fernando Mendoza was what, Cal? So, yeah.
The Raiders are going to be happy with Fernando. They're going to be really happy with him.
Yeah, there's no way they're trading out. They're signed, sealed, delivered.
I mean, if I'm the Raiders, I'm making sure I get a good head coach, somebody that'll be a good head coach. But while I'm at it, I'm making sure Fernando is paired with him, and I'm not going to mess with it if I'm the Raiders.
They haven't named their head coach yet, have they? The Raiders? I keep
No,
forgetting. I'm
nor
so
them,
focused
nor
on
the
like East
Bills,
Coast
nor the
teams.
Browns.
Right. And the Bills.
If that were me, if I'm an NFL owner and I'm looking for a guy that's going to lead my team, I'm going for Joe Brady. I think honestly he can bring out awesomeness in QBs. We saw what he did with Josh Allen. We saw what he did as an assistant coach at LSU in 2019. I want to see that. And the Bengals, I still can't believe they got the second longest tenured coach in the AFC and Zach Taylor.
And
It's like he's got a job, but Mike Tomlin's out, Stefanski's out. Harbaugh's happy at the Giants.
Yep. And talking Bengals, I just wrote it down. To your point about 2019 LSU, he had Clyde Edwards. Joe Brady was the passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach by title. Steve Ensminger, if I got that last name right, was the OC. But Brady had a huge hand in it. And Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Thaddeus Moss, I think, was the tight end. And they had a third receiver who went like second round of the Panthers or something. He didn't really turn out in the NFL. But anyways, he had a cast of legends. And two of those are in Cincy now. So that Jackson, like that, I fully agree on Joe Brady, number one. Number two, Cincy messed up because he could have Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow there right now going into 2026. It's Cincy, though. We saw them all offseason last year. They messed the whole offseason up. So why are we surprised that they decided to retain Zach Taylor?
I mean, they kept Marvin Lewis longer than they should have.
Right.
And they're going to keep Zach Taylor longer than they should have. And it's unfortunate, but Burrow is basically going to be like Andrew Luck, where it's just he's another could have been. Where it's insane. It's completely insane. And the Colts, they're a disaster too. It's like all these teams that fired their coaches, I'm thinking, what? But and the teams that didn't fire their coach, like the Colts or the Bengals, were thinking, what? Like you kept the guy on for too long. You collapsed in the regular season in November. I don't care that you had a good start.
Yep.
Clearly, you should have fired general manager for trading away your draft picks, and you should have just fired the coach as well. And you're just gonna have to rebuild. You have to rebuild at this point if you're the Colts.
So since this is an SEC channel, I'll shout this out because I'm from upstate New York, Bills country. When the Bills drafted Keon Coleman, who's been in the news a lot lately, there was an SEC receiver that tore it up at Georgia for 3 years that was still on the board, Lab McConkey. Bowers was obviously off the board at tight end. McConkey was still on the board. The justification from Bills fans is, we need a speed receiver. Keon Coleman sucked at South Carolina for 3 years. That's why he had to go to Florida State. Yeah, he had a good year at Florida State. Who didn't have a good year at Florida State? That was the year with Jordan Travis when we're not going to go there with Bama, but there was a playoff debate that year. And I know we're dovetailing here with NFL talk, but that still infuriates me because I saw what you saw because I know you're a big college guy. Like I didn't have to see the Senior Bowl to know in the NFL Combine to know that Lab McConkey was the real deal. Like I watched him for 2 or 3 years at Georgia and he showed out. So.
Oh, no doubt about it, man. No doubt. But, Florida State is definitely a wait and see team. They're going to be starting off with, I think, New Mexico State on week 0 for 2026. And they're going to be playing SMU on Labor Day as we got the 2026 ACC schedule today. And tomorrow is the announcement of the 2026 Big Ten football schedule.
Yeah, nice. They're all coming together. I remember back in the day, it was the 90s, and my parents had season tickets to Syracuse football. Jackson, we used to find out who they were playing in the mail when the ticket stubs came in. Probably could have dug for it in the newspaper, but there was no internet, right? So you weren't really finding out the schedule until now you got FBSschedules.com. Like I'm looking out.
Oh, I love FBS.
Sure you are too. It's different.
Oh man, it's like I've been using FBS schedule since I was 14 years old. So
yeah,
it's well, actually 12, 13, I believe. My mistake. because like such a long time.
I did I can't, you'd have to search for it. I was writing for Fansided a few years ago, and I did an article on the top 20 non-conference games involving SEC's teams for the next like 15 or 20 years. This was at my bias as of like a year and a half ago when I wrote it. So like, yeah, some teams could be worse, some could be better now than when I wrote it, because I didn't profile every game, but I profiled a lot of them. I think like South Carolina, for example, played Notre Dame in a series, and there was just random, like Oklahoma State, I think, was playing Ole Miss or something. So, but a lot of those, as we know, are getting canceled now because the game is just changing. So
that's why I may be in a minority of this, but I hate that everybody's at non-conference games, because it's like, oh no, the old non-con games are getting destroyed. And I know like some people are just laughing their butts off at Notre Dame, be like, join a conference, or just, you know, cheering for USC or cheering for Notre Dame. A lot of those people are not seeing what that could do to Florida State, Florida, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Clemson, South Carolina, Kentucky, Louisville.
Yep.
That worries me a lot every day for the
Yep.
world of college football. I know it won't be affected in college basketball, but college football, it worries me what could happen. Because, I mean, like, seriously, who's going to get excited about Kentucky South Carolina rivalry week? Nobody.
Right. I agree.
But here we go. Speaking of the SEC, let's talk a little bit about the state of the SEC heading into 2026. Because, like, just going back to like 06 to 2012, 7 straight national champs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you see them come up short 2 straight seasons. Then Bama wins it all. Clemson wins. Bama wins. Clemson wins. It's just tit-tat-toe, 3 in a row, right?
Yep.
2019, LSU wins it all, especially when you see, you know, an amazing year of 2019 where you get to go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Margot Robbie and Leo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt and Brandy the Pit Bull. You know, that's always a good one. And then just seeing LSU make that magical run in 2019. 2020, Alabama wins it all. 2021, 2022, Georgia wins it all. That's the last time an SEC team has won it all since. And since then, we've got Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana winning national titles for the Big Ten. And it's the first time since 1940 through 1942 where the Big Ten has 3 straight national champions. And for those tuning in, that was the Benny Behrman Minnesota teams of 1940 and 1941. And 1942, Ohio State, Georgia shared the national championship. Ohio State was led by Paul Brown in his second year in the 1942 season, and that was before he became a legend for the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals.
See, this is I'm listening to your shows before, you pull out all these stats just like off the top of your head. It's fascinating. It's next level. Movies, stats, like I like to think I remember a lot of random stuff about sports, but you are just on another planet. It's impressive.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And you don't forget seeing an awesome movie like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at the movie theaters 2 days before the start of week 1 of the 2019 college football season, and 4 days after seeing Florida Miami on week 0 and the day Andrew Luck retires from the Colts out of the blue. So it's like,
yeah, I was in a fantasy league of that with my buddy, and we had done a live draft in person like 2 hours before Andrew Luck announced his retirement. And every league had that person that drafted Andrew if they had drafted already, which a lot had, right? Because I think that was like right before the season kicked off. And my buddy did. And we were watching like ESPN, and on the bottom line, right, it scrolled like Andrew Luck has announced retirement. And he thought it was a joke. He just drafted him as his QB, his first QB, and it was a super flex league. So I think he drafted him like pretty high, and yeah, the rest is history.
There we go. And you know, just kind of like looking at everything, you know, just seeing Alabama hires their new offensive line coach and Adrian Clem, and We talked about it on Alabama Crimson Tide Live a little while ago, and he's got an astonishing resume at what he did under June Jones at SMU and Jim Moore Jr. at UCLA, where Alabama's kind of crossing their fingers that Alabama can go on a run to the semifinals national title for the 2026 season. Third season could probably be the charm. I think people are getting upset about DeBoer a little too much, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I wouldn't worry too much. It's 2026, not 2030. No worries. And Georgia with Kirby, we know they can win an SEC title. We know they can run it. But can they make a run to the Natty? Can third time be the charm? Because right now, I'm feeling like they're just coming up short in the playoffs. And Auburn's racking up transfers all over the place. But can they translate to the SEC? We'll wait and see. LSU, Lane Kiffin's the portal king. But did LSU learn anything from Brian Kelly? We're going to wait and see. And Texas A&M, Oklahoma, they're going to be competing, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, A&M, they just have to get that Texas bug off of them on Black Friday.
Right.
We'll wait and see if that does happen. Tennessee, can they have a better season than they had in 2025? Can Josh Heupel bring out that Bobby Hill Riz? He could, but we'll wait and see. Ole Miss, can they repeat what they did under Pete Golding? Will Stein, can he be the next Sid Nettie for Kentucky? I don't know, but we'll see. Mississippi State, Missouri, everybody else. I'm thinking I left somebody out. I obviously I left out Vanderbilt.
South Carolina.
Yeah, I think South Carolina. And this is the weird thing I've noticed about Shane Beamer in South Carolina. Kind of like how when Malzahn was at Auburn, when everybody talked about Auburn, they choked. But when everybody was talking about how they're going to lose, they're not going to do so well, they won. That's what we could see again from the South Carolina Gamecocks for the 2026 season. Is nobody's talking about them. Nobody's really saying anything positive about them. We don't see a stock market light. We don't see a green arrow. So what's going to happen is another surprise year from the South Carolina Gamecocks, like we saw from 2022, like we saw from 2024.
Yep.
This could happen again.
They're so up and down, and it's time to be up, to your point.
Oh, yeah. But we will see.
They don't have Mike Shula either. So
that's a positive.
That was their real detriment. I mean, that's how I see it. So that's, you can only go up from there on offense.
Oh, man. I get a joy out of saying bye-bye to Mike Shula, but I do remember, but I'm not going to let my feelings get in the way too much because I got to remember he did lead Alabama to a comeback on Labor Day of 1985 against Georgia. He did do some good things, and he's related to a magician and Don Shula. So got to take that feelings of the 2000 out of it.
What's crazy, Jackson, is like we both know he preceded Nick Saban. And when he was still in seat, I remember talking to my friend Luke. We used to do media for like local hockey teams and stuff in college. And Luke's an Alabama fan. He just went to college with me in upstate New York. And we're like talking at the game, like, should or should we not? Should or should they not fire Mike Shula? It was really like at the time, not a lot of people remember, like, yeah, he had some sanctions against him or potential sanctions against him and like turmoil, but like this was not like an coming off of an Alabama dynasty. This was like a program like, yeah, Shula's done all right, kind of like we were talking Clemson with Tommy Bowden, right? Before Dabo got there, like they were kind of holding serve-ish. So there was a segment of the fan base, from my memory, that was okay with retaining Shula. And then it's just crazy to think about, like, yeah, that was obviously wrong because the next couple decades brought multiple national titles. So it's just funny to think back. Rich Rod, that whole thing, how he said no. And, had he said yes, would have gone different.
Oh, agreed. And, just kind of thinking about like all these teams for 2026. There is something I've noticed that a lot of the Big Ten has, and what a lot of the SEC teams don't have. They've got somebody there. They've got a Larry Ellison. They've got a Mark Cuban. They've got this guy or that guy. I wonder if there's any chance you see like an SEC team nailing Elon Musk as their investor, because like even though Musk isn't a football guy,
Yeah, right.
he's not, like Elon is looking for that net stain to invest in.
That's right.
I feel like college football, that could be it for him. We'll wait and see. I don't know, but
exhibit Cody Campbell at Texas Tech, right? To your point. So,
oh yeah, I mean, they got Brendan Sorsby from Cincy to Texas Tech.
The teams I'm intrigued by in the SEC, good and bad. Brent Venables, I love. Since he was DC at Clemson, I know that gives Bama fans nightmares. I mean, he beat them twice as DC at Clemson. So, and he's finally. It just takes time. He's been there. This is going into year 5. Last year was going into year 4, I think. And it just took him time to turn it around. And I'm glad he got that time. And now he's clearly not on the hot seat. I'm not saying if he has a subpar 2026, he won't be right back on it. But right now, it looks like they're on the up and up. South Carolina, we talked about with Beamer. He's just so up and down. Like Mike Shula being out is probably means they're back up, like you said. Pete Golding at Ole Miss. I have never been a Pete Golding fan back to his DC days at Bama. I think, like, for me, he's a great recruiter. That held true at Alabama too, and then carried over to Ole Miss. But my thing is his defenses are so complex. It takes, I mean, the guy had Will Anderson out of position. Will freaking Anderson. And it just takes a few years to get that used to his defense. And even then, it's complicated. I think what helped him at Ole Miss is the expectations aren't as high as Alabama. And he also did do better. I was surprised at least 2 years ago at Ole Miss, the defense was clicking. They had a lot of stars on that defense from the portal. But I think like what I'm intrigued by Golding as a head coach is you're now a head coach. Your job is you can delegate. You don't have to run the defense anymore, right? You can hire a DC and say, hey, I'm a defensive guy, but defense is all yours. Can he do that and just step back? And then obviously he'll hire the OC to totally run the offense. Or does he feel like he still has to have his handprint on the defense and be largely involved and be calling plays and all that? I think that's going to be to his detriment if he does that. I think he's better off stepping back, playing the CEO and just delegating, doing the recruiting as a head coach, which he's very successful at, and the portal as well. And just let that be that. I think that's what sets them up. I think if he tries to get too involved from an assistant coaching capacity and run that defense, I think that's going to be to their detriment. And I think just like Clemson, it withers away. And Ole Miss is not like a blue blood college football program. They've had their good stints in the past, but they're not like, historically good every year. A sneaky team is my last one. Arkansas. I mean, we didn't mention Arkansas.
Arkansas.
We forgot about, but Ryan Silverfield is such a boring hire, but so was Mike Elko. It's like Eli Drinkwitz too was to me a boring hire. And look at some of these like boring hires. They're winning. So watch Arkansas just like come out and win 8 or 9 games. That'd be fascinating.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool to see that. It's like. And you mentioned Mike Elko, where when he was at Duke, he made some magic over at Duke. Like especially when you saw Duke smacking Clemson, just obliterating the Tigers.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, that was.
It was like a week 1 game, wasn't it?
Labor Day in 2023.
Yeah, that was. You're right. That was kind of the first head turn with Elko.
Yep.
And it's that game in that moment because of how Duke was. You're like, oh, whatever. Clemson just came out flat. Duke will be Duke, and then Clemson will turn around and no.
Nope. Yeah, Duke's like, we're not letting you get ahead of this. And Drinkwitz was winning at Appalachian State a lot, which I mean, like everybody was winning at App State.
Yeah. At that time, who did he replace at App State again? Because it was a good coach.
Yeah, it was another winner right there. Yeah, because I don't think it was Sean Clark. Yeah, because like Sean Clark was there, but good grief, But yeah, like the 2018, there it is, Satterfield.
Right. Satterfield actually did good at App State, which propelled him to the Louisville job, right? And then he crashed and burned. He was about to get fired. So he bolted.
Yeah, and he was like looking at South Carolina. He's like, no, I'm not looking at South Carolina. I swear, I'm not looking at South Carolina. But it was like, yeah, no. and then like just kind of look, and Memphis, looking at Silverfield. I've noticed that they were always coming up short in top 25 games. I think that's been like the thing that was going against him. Is that Memphis was always coming up short in the big games. And they had a chance to kind of take over the American Athletic Conference when Cincinnati, Central Florida, and Houston left.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not been so. It's just not been what he thought was going to happen. We've seen Tulane, South Florida, this team here or that team there just kind of just take over the American Athletic Conference. Everybody's just pegging at one another. So it's just not. I hope Silverfield does win at Arkansas. I would like to see him do well there.
Yeah. Who's their quarterback?
Oh yeah.
Who's their quarterback? Is it still the same guy?
I think so. But we could look at our lads right quick. Because I'm not liking where things are at for the Razorbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people just kind of need to lower their expectations on Arkansas. Oh, KJ Jackson.
So it's not the same guy that Petrino brought in. I forget the guy's name now.
Yeah. It's like, you can just be glad Petrino's not there. It's like, it's nowhere near where he was having them in 2011. It's like,
it's different. Yeah. This is off topic, but speaking of that, do you remember? So he got fired in the offseason because of that motorcycle incident. They were primed to give Alabama a serious test that coming year. Yeah. And that was going to be in Fayetteville too. And it was like people forget that. I honestly, I don't think Petrino was ever going to be Saban level. But if there was a coach singular that could have given him a run for his money, Saban, at least for the next 4 or 5 years in the SEC West, had he stayed, Petrino had that thing built. Like they were ready. They had receivers, they had quarterbacks, they were primed. And then what's it? LJ, the interim coach they got after him, just
John Smith.
John L. Smith, yeah.
Oh, his press conferences were cringe. That smile press conference. It's like when the parent is like, "We're going to be a happy family this time." It's like when you're having to yell that or all of it, that means you've already lost.
That was it. That's what we were talking about. Programs withering away. He was even more impressive because he withered it away in a half season. Like they were just like done.
Lost to Louisiana Monroe in week 2.
Yeah. Crazy. That thing was built and he just torched it.
Man, that was a disaster right there. But I bet Arkansas is glad they're not having to deal with that mess, especially the fans that are old enough to remember the John L. Smith era.
That's the other fascinating thing is I remember Petrino, I remember John L. Smith, but the students there now are like, Bobby Petrino, he got fired from us 15 years ago,
oh yeah,
it's true. It's like they don't have any recollection of that. Those kids were 3 to 5 years old.
Man, It's insane. But that's why there's some historians for the world of college football to tell everybody of the old days.
That's right.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see for 2026, and maybe the SEC can have that team that ends the streak. Maybe we see Oregon winning it all. Maybe we see Notre Dame. Maybe we see Miami taking one for the AC. But it's way too early to kind of figure it out at the moment. I mean, we've only got 215 days until week 0. So there we go. 215 days. Tomorrow will be 214 days. So we're counting.
I think I remember your countdown last year too. You were counting down.
We're back at the countdown. So it's like we're coming back to it, and it's gonna be awesome. You know, just kind of waiting it out for the football season to start. And
these football playoffs make it feel even longer because honestly, like AFC NFC championship weekend, I was already tuned out. Like the teams are just so bland to me. No, we don't have the Bears. You don't have the Bills. You don't have any storylines. Even the Chiefs, even if people hate them, like there's none of the Georgia Bulldogs, aka Philadelphia Eagles. Like nobody, that nationally anybody cared about was in it. Really.
Yeah. And that brings us to our next topic about the playoff field. Because it was like we're now going to be at 12 teams for 2026.
Yeah.
For another season at the least. It feels like we're going to have more than 12 in 2027 at the least, but at the most at 2028. Because like nobody can really agree. The SEC wants it at 12. The Big Ten wants it at 24. I'm just like, I didn't like 12. But if you have to have playoff expansion, either have it be at 16. Don't have it at 14, for God's sakes. Either have it at 16, move it down to 8, move it back down to 4, or maybe not so much the BCS era, but have literally everybody playing their bowl games. And then once all the bowl games are over with, we all determine who the 2 best teams in all college football play for the national championship. I would say 2 weeks after New Year's Day. Have that. But
right.
It's the playoff field. Somebody's going to be mad again, honestly. We don't know who that team's going to be yet. But if everybody thought that moving to 4 was going to be, okay, nobody will be mad anymore.
Yeah. No. People were still mad.
Exactly.
You could expand it.
So what Mike Leach warned about, it's like everybody's going to be mad even when it gets 64.
Right. And that's how college basketball is. Like we had the field of 64, then they did 68, and now it's like 68, 69 is still mad. But they would have been mad at 64, and you would have really not been in. Now you're just almost not like you. College basketball, I understand it's a different sport, but it's like, dude, if you're like 21-12, you had 12 opportunities to not lose one of those games. So in football, I applaud the 12 team. I think that's fine because every Power 4 team at least has a chance to take care of all of their business, emphasis, and get in. We saw 2 years ago, I think South Carolina dropped that game to LSU. Had they not dropped it, they would have gotten in. Ole Miss that season dropped, I think, to South Carolina. They would have gotten in. Texas this year lost at Florida, right? Yeah. They would have gotten in. And even then, you look at that and you're like, so that was your third loss? Had you only lost 2 games, you still could have made some errors, so to speak, and gotten in. That's what I applaud. You have a chance now. Handle your business. Don't go crying, Notre Dame or whoever. If you get left out, you had a chance to handle your business. Oh, well, that call against A&M, we lost late. Yeah, you did. But you didn't. You also gave up 40-something points to put yourself in that situation.
Yeah. Because it's like I could understand. Yeah, because it was like I kind of felt like Notre Dame being upset, Bama and Miami and being upset, everybody, and this team being upset, that team being upset there. I felt like it was going to go nowhere. Just like Alabama, Miami, Notre Dame, in my opinion, would have done better teaming up together against like the current thing that we've got where it's like the 5 highest ranked champs for the conference. Because it's like, wait a minute. James Madison's not going to win a playoff game. Tulane's not going to win a playoff game.
Right.
Like I'm fine with Tulane getting in, but like Duke getting in, that no, because like this is the exact situation I kind of warned about, because it's going to be, because I've always heard somebody say, well, if you're a conference champ, you should get in, and I always rebuttal with, what if you had 2012 Wisconsin, where they only won the Big Ten because of the fact that the 2 best teams in their division were banned from the postseason. And Wisconsin had 5 losses that year. What if you have you're not seeing that in the SEC or Big Ten again, obviously. But what if you have a 5-loss conference champ in your power conference? Are you going to be like, oh, well, we're the best? Or, well, we're better now than they were when we were in August or September? It's like,
Right.
What are you going to do if you have a 5-loss conference champ?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't just put them in because they got a label. I like Duke this past year. So would they lose 4 games, Duke, regular season?
They lost 5 regular season games.
Jesus.
They lost to Illinois. They lost to Tulane.
Right.
And another non-con game. They got smacked by Virginia.
And if you put 24, let's just say 24, Jackson, and even 16, like the more you put in, the more you devalue every win in the regular season. And the conference title games are already largely devalued. So you're devaluing those even more so. I was pulling percentages, and I meant to real quick, but like so there's 136 teams in FBS. 12 of the 136 is 8% of teams get in college football under the 12-team structure. In college basketball, 19% get in when you have 68 at the 355 Division I college basketball teams. There's a lot more college basketball. So you can play your way in at 8%. The 4, I still agree. Like you could get, Florida State had a very good team. Even without Jordan Travis, they had an awesome defense, and that's another side of the ball. I'm glad Bama got in because I liked watching Bama, selfishly. But in a 12-team playoff, one more year forward, Florida State still gets in. We're splitting hairs. Oh, Bama's 4, Florida State's 5 or 6 or whatever, But now that I think that's a great example, because with the 12, you don't have to worry about that. The only thing you're worrying about is what we're arguing about Notre Dame, who lost. But why are we arguing? He lost 2 games.
Yeah. It was just it's just gonna be like, it's like some people are like, well, it should be about fairness, but it's like, when's college football been about fairness? Like somebody was always getting the bad end of the stick, no matter what. We can definitely look back at like 68 and 69 Penn State. Now those are teams that really got the bad end of the stick right there. And, like 66 Alabama, they were like, wait a minute. We didn't get a shot to 3-peat, but, you're going to put Notre Dame, Michigan State in because they're number 1, number 2. They tied 10-10 because of this crap. Well, we're going to beat the living crap out of Nebraska, pummel them, turn it from color TV into black and white for everybody in Nebraska. What they do? They did 34-7. Man, King Stabler was having a party that day. He was partying and having fun. He was like he was like one of the outcasts on the Aristocats, having fun afterwards, as well as he should have. Because you're in New Orleans, you might as well. So there you go.
Do you think they need to do away with conference title games?
At this point, you kind of have to, because it's like, because like the SEC Big Ten title games, So they're both getting in no matter what. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of
true,
playoff
true.
seeding.
Yeah, it was literally proceeding. Perfectly stated.
And I thought about this article that I found from my guy Matt Zimick at USC at the Voice of College Football, Trojans Wire, where he wrote an article that exact topic, where we need to just have bubble watch games instead of conference title games at this point, because like the conference title era is gone. It just has to get. We just have to get everybody in college football to literally realize that, and that way we could see like Notre Dame prove themselves. We could see Miami and Alabama, play against one another in that 13th game. You could have somebody play in Atlanta on ESPN, somebody play in Indianapolis on Fox, somebody play against one another in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And whoever wins those games is in the 12-team playoffs. And nobody can really complain. Everybody's happy.
Right. It's the last four in college football style.
Yeah.
But put BYU this past year, we put BYU Notre Dame against each other as one of them. Have them play it out.
Man, nobody talked about BYU. Like that's they're like the forgotten kid of the family, where it's like where it's just BYU's going, well, wait a minute, what about us?
Right.
Yeah, we didn't beat Test Tip, but we beat everybody else. What about us?
Yeah.
That's a team I would have loved to see in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. Also, speaking playoffs, beyond the structure, let's start having second round games on home fields as well. I'm sick of this. I like that they're doing the first round at home, but I would love to see second round games. Those would be quarterfinals, right?
Yeah.
And then the semis, I'd honestly be okay with the semis being at home fields and then have the national title at a neutral site. That's how the NFL is anyways.
I'm going to think about that for a moment, because I mean, I still like seeing college football in Pasadena.
Yeah. That's the one. That Michigan Bama Rose Bowl was awesome. I know you ended up on the losing end, but it was such a cool atmosphere to see the videos and stuff and all that. Indiana too, this past year when they went to play Bama, that was their fans came, and then Bama fans came. Obviously, it was really cool.
I told my guy Rock and Rant, and I told Alec from the Indiana channel on the CFB Express channel that whoever won the Rose Bowl was going to win the Natty. It wasn't going to be Oregon or Texas Tech. It was going to be the winner of Alabama, Indiana, basically winning the national championship. What happened? The winner of Alabama, Indiana wins the Natty.
So it's Bama this year is fascinating to me. I want to be out on DeBoer so bad, and then I tug at myself why I can't be. Two things happened. Week 1, Florida State. They looked awful after the first drive. Florida State looked like a playoff team, but then I realized Florida State singularly made their OC hire to beat Alabama and put all of their eggs into that basket for that one game. Bama was their Super Bowl. And then you look, and so everybody's shaming Bama, including me, after that week 1 loss, and Bama didn't end up looking that bad largely for the rest of the season. They made the playoffs, and then they lose. They look bad in the moment again to Indiana, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you just lost to Indiana. Everybody then lost to Indiana and got throttled. So Bama's loss suddenly doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, I mean, like lose, and this is what I told people, because I mean, it's like losing to Indiana is not like losing to Indiana in 2005 on ESPN Classic.
Right.
You're talking about a Kurt Sidnetti Indiana team, a guy who has a resting bitch face with 15 seconds left in the game, with his team leading 63-10 on NBC Saturday night.
Yep.
That's the Indiana team we're all talking about. Not the team celebrate bowl eligibility on November 17th, 2007 on the Big Ten Network after kicking a game-clinching winning field goal against Purdue. It's not that's not like that.
That's right.
It's an Indiana team beating everybody's eyes out, becoming that next blue blood in college football. They're looking to become that with Cincinnati, and you know what? They could definitely do that. I can't wait to see Indiana punish USC for Lincoln Riley and Jen Cohen taking away Notre Dame USC from us, but that's another time for another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, the playoff field, happy that's at 12 for now, but there needs to be serious changes. I mean, Roy Kramer's gone. The conference title game era basically just has to come to an end at this point.
So I do want to give the NCAA credit. They have made positive strides in the playoff structure, going from what we talked about to BCS to people vote. It's not the BCS to people vote. It's 4 people vote. It's 12. So there's definitely, I agree fully room for improvements. AKA not letting, group of 5 teams in the playoffs just because. But like they're fixing things slowly, right? Like it's not going to be fixed and perfect overnight, but they're learning. So I
don't think it should be athletic directors as committee members, because that's kind of like, having having too many hands in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
Too many fingers in the cookie jar.
That's been talked about too. Like, do you think people still vote just non-ADs, or do you think they should go back to computers? Because I've heard some people preferring the BCS computer model again, even with 12.
Either computer model, or just have people that have watched college football all year, people that eat, sleep, and breathe and go to the bathroom with it.
Right. Jackson Johnson.
Put me in there. There's a few other people I'd like to recommend in that committee room.
Yeah.
So there you go. Somebody that's watching all teams, somebody that's getting up early at the butt crack of dawn and staying up late. So it's like, we need those. And it's like, if you have to have it be writers, so be it. If you have to have it be fans, then that's what you got to have it be. Somebody, like people that are just taking their teams out, like taking the rose-colored glasses off.
Yes.
That's what you need. Because like if you're having athletic directors, or if you're having somebody with way too much money in there, they're going to have their own interest in it. They're going to be, even if it's my favorite team or your favorite team or everybody's favorite team here on this channel, they're clearly going to have their own interest, putting their little fingers in the cookie jar when they really shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's hard not to. It's on the college basketball front. Remember this past year, arguably, West Virginia should have gotten in over North Carolina when North Carolina's AD, Bubba Cunningham, was like the head of the committee or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were trying to say, oh, no, he left the room and all this. Like, to your point, come on.
Yeah,
he's their boss technically. So
I don't think you should be having athletic directors as March Madness committee members either. It's, once again, you got to have people that eat, sleep, and breathe college basketball. That goes for the men's section, and that goes for the women's section as well.
It's pretty neat though in basketball. What I do like that not a lot of people realize, their conference tournaments at the end of the year, that's for an automatic bid to the NCAA. So you could be a bandy, so to speak. And it's not a good example present day, but you could be like a Mississippi State, go 10-18 in the regular season, win the conference title game, and you're in auto bid. And then that's how bubble teams get knocked out a lot of times. So
that's true.
Pretty interesting dynamic.
Oh yeah. I mean,
your
there's
seat's
no
gonna
doubt.
be awful, but you're in.
Well, there you go. I mean, because like there's always some March Madness magic. Although I'm not the guy to go to for bracket advice, because the last time I had a national champion correctly was 2012 with Kentucky. But although I had UConn winning it all 2011, but none of my other Final Four teams made it. I had Kansas, they lost in the Elite Eight. I had Ohio State playing Kansas, but I think they lost in the Sweet 16. I had St. John's in there, but they lost to Gonzaga in the first round, and I think that was on CBS.
Okay.
I think so, but I know it was on Thursday night. I know that for a fact. But here we go. Ooh, well, our guy Will and D says Sark has to be fired if Texas misses the playoffs or even losing the quarterfinals, right?
Quarters, no. Playoffs, that'd be 2 years in a row, right? He's missed. So,
Oh, if he missed the playoffs, it's his head. I mean, especially with
yeah.
all the guys you're getting in the portal
Yeah.
and everybody there. I mean, you're there to get Arch Manning and Natty. I mean,
Right.
yeah, you're beating your rivals. That's great, but you got to do more than that. You got to win the SEC. But I know this: Texas or Oklahoma will get an SEC title before Texas A&M, Missouri, Arkansas, South Carolina do. So they could always say that. And
It's a good
yeah,
question.
man,
So if you're Texas and you miss, because the brand's going to get you that's going to buy you a loss, let's say. So 9-3 Texas gets in.
Yeah.
Most likely. So that would mean you would go 8-4 Sarkisian, to your point, with all those guys on that roster.
What if Notre Dame is 10-2 again and they're in the top 12 and it's between Notre Dame and Texas? Because Notre Dame's got that thing where it's like they can get in if the ranking says they're in the final top 12. Because it's like,
yeah. Yep.
My thing is, don't put yourself in that position. And I always tell my buddies, I tell everybody that tunes in, I tell everybody in general, don't put yourself in a position where you need somebody to win or lose for you.
Yes, that's right.
Because, I mean, I laugh when people go, oh, my rival didn't win for me. I thought you were supposed to hate your rival. Well, I mean, not this game. It's like, yeah, whatever. But Texas got a pretty tough schedule, but
I think what might help Sark, if knock on wood they miss, is they go 9-3 and they miss. Like you said, the Notre Dame thing is actually a really good example. Like Texas will think about everything after Mac Brown, and like you alluded to, also the end of Mac Brown tenure. How long it took to get to good again, to get to national title contending under Sarkisian. They went through Tom Herman, they went through Charlie Strong. I think they went through a third one before Sark. And now they got Sark. So I think that their experience for decades plural of failure by Texas standards helps to get him another year, because they're like, oh, well, he's doing bad, but he's not doing that bad. Like, let's remember like what we just came off of. It's not like they're coming off of a Nick Saban dynasty or a Kirby Smart tenure, right? Or a Phil Fulmer tenure. It's been some time. So that could help him.
True. And, just kind of like looking at it, we'll wait and see on whether they continue the winning streak over Oklahoma, which, I mean, I'm sure they will. They'll obviously continue to win streak against Arkansas. Feels like they're going to continue to win streak against Texas A&M. But LSU, Ole Miss, Ohio State, we're going to have to find out. September 12th is that date. We're going to know whether the Longhorns can really win a big game. Because, I mean, like last season, 2025, they were like, well, I mean, if you take the Ohio State game out, then we would be in. No, don't do that. Don't do that. You should not be flexing about losing to Florida. That's a 4-8 team. It's not like you lost to Steve Spurrier or Denny Wolf or
right.
It's like, good grief. It's not like they had Thanos on that team.
They didn't take care of their business, so
no. So you shouldn't have gotten in. Playoff committee did their due diligence on not putting you in. Good for the committee on that one. So you lost.
They got pieces in place, though. I mean, Colin Simmons going to be a top 5 pick. And then who's the linebacker? He's another one, Anthony Hill Jr.
Yeah.
He actually, if there was a defensive player that was going to be in the Heisman finals, I picked Ant Hill Jr. preseason this past year. It didn't happen, but I just he got a lot of stars, like you said.
Yep. There it is. You got Brad Spence Jr. and Ty Anthony Smith at the linebackers. Yep. We were just talking about Colin Simmons. The running back situation, that's going to be huge. So it's like they're going all in for 2026. And if they don't make the playoffs, I think they do have to consider whether they fire Sark or not if they don't make it to the playoffs.
Arch flipped a switch though after that Mississippi State game. It seemed like he really started to gain confidence. So that's what I'm curious about if it instantly continues this year. Because it takes guys a while to get comfortable, to fully get confident. A lot of times in college football, they don't just come in right away and thrive. Like CJ Carr, I guess, is like the counter to that, arguably, just because Will's here, Notre Dame fan. Like he looked pretty good from the start, but he even looked better as the season went on. Just talking Bama historically, I remember AJ, those 2 years he started. The first year, he really game managed. The second year, yeah, he game managed, but you could tell he knew everything. He went out there with confidence and full command. So
True.
It just takes guys time.
Agreed. No doubt about it. And lastly, we'll kind of be short with this one is, I said a little bit about the 101 top players from the 2025 season. This from Matt Chadwick of Pro Football Focus, a friend of the Voice College Football Network. He's been featured with Garrison on the Ohio State channel. Check him out. I saw where the best player in the SEC he had through that list was Diego Pavia at number 7, and the second best player was Ahmad Hardy. The third best player was Mansour Delane at LSU. The fourth best was Trinidad Chambliss. The fifth one was Keegan Tross at Missouri, the offensive tackle. The sixth best player in the SEC, according to him, was Keewan Lacey. The seventh best player in the SEC was Caden Proctor, according to him. The eighth best player in the SEC was Joey Aguilar, according to Chadwick. The ninth best player was Michael Taft, and the 10th best player was Ty Simpson. And he had Arch Manning behind Ty Simpson. Just kind of like looking at this whole list, like we only went through 1 through 50. What did you think about when taking a look at it?
You said Arch Manning was behind Ty Simpson.
Yep, Arch Manning was 50. Ty Simpson was 49th, according to Matt Chadwick.
So my top one, I was scrolling this list when you sent it to me, and I kept thinking, where's Keewan Lacey? Where's Keelan Lacey? Just overall on the list, SEC aside, he was like 28th or something overall. So to hear you say he's the 6th highest SEC player, like he broke records at Ole Miss from RB this year. Last year with Ulysses Bentley was supposed to be the year they finally had a good run game, and it wasn't. This year was, and nobody was expecting anything because I think he was a Group of 5 transfer, right?
Yeah.
So, and he just, that was surprising to me that he went off. I hate saying this because I know you're a Bama guy, but dude, Ty Simpson, I think he should have been the backup quarterback before Auburn, but he wasn't. So, because you think about, I mean, you had Austin Mack on the bench, and then Keelan Russell. Is it Keelan or Keelan Russell?
Keelan Russell.
Keelan Russell, 5-star.
You can call him Keelan or Keelan. It doesn't matter.
So, look what they had on the bench. I understand you're competing for a playoff spot. You don't really want to start a guy who's totally green with starting experience. So you're kind of trying to hedge your bets, but it's just fascinating to me. I really feel like if Ty Simpson was just benched before he was benched against Indiana because he got hurt, is he even being talked about as a first, second round draft pick right now? Like he would have performed the same, but that's just interesting to me. how like not being benched and suddenly he's still like, yeah, it's a weak QB class as it is, but he's still being heralded as a top quarterback. Good for him. But I liked Arch, but gosh, it's so weak. This year I'm just talking QB class, but Simpson's intriguing to me. I just didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, like Simpson had a pretty good start after week 1, but then the cracks were starting to fall against LSU.
Yes.
Through that pick six against Oklahoma to the point where it caused Sean McDonough to throw the puberty voice out. And, like he was not having much of a good day against the FCS opponent. Alabama got lucky against Auburn. But, special teams bailed Alabama out against Oklahoma, of course, and defense saved the day.
Yeah, lights out.
Man, it was like Mighty Mouse. It's like urinating tree says, here comes the high-end talent. Here I come to save the day. Will knows what we're talking about in the chat, so he knows that reference. But I will say, you're right. I think it's a good thing Simpson didn't return for 2026, because if he did, he'd have lost the starting gig to Keelan Russell. 100%. That's what it feels like. Even if he did win the starting job, it would be for a few games and like one bad throw against like Florida State or Kentucky,
right?
Or South Carolina, then Keelan Russell's going to step in.
Yeah, because at this point, Keelan Russell's not totally green. He's got a year and a half in college as of when that starts. And also too, like I love your point mid-season on Simpson, because going into that LSU game, you identified it. Dude, it was early. You could argue he was the front runner for the Heisman based on his numbers. Like I was looking at like, this is his to lose. And it was. He had a long way to go. And then to your point, it was like a tale of two seasons, literally.
Yeah. And the same could be said with Arch Manning, because like you remember when the season was starting, before the Red River rivalry, everybody was saying, Arch Manning's overhyped. Arch Manning's a disaster. Those same people clearly forgot Peyton Manning had a terrible start at Tennessee. They were throwing the baby out with the bathwater and Peyton Manning. But then as time grew, Peyton was creating that magic at Tennessee. Couldn't create that magic against Florida, but he was able to just stomp a mud hole in the Crimson Tide's butt and stomp a mud hole in everybody's butt in the SEC. And we're going to see that with Arch Manning. And we saw something magical happen against Oklahoma. Now, part of that was John Mateer coming back from injury, and clearly Mateer came back too soon in the Red River rivalry, right?
Yeah, good point. Yep.
And Arch is just leading Texas through heroics against Mississippi State. And, we're just seeing that. And we're seeing some great stats against Texas A&M. So, I think, it's like a tale of two seasons for Ty Simpson, but also for Arch Manning. And the same people that were saying Arch Manning overrated because you lost Ohio State, well, guess what? Those same people, I don't think they're going to be saying that when it gets to Red River rivalry week.
He's got the experience. I agree. And then what people don't think about is like the guys that he's playing. Some of them are gone. You are now the elder statesman more so. You're not the eldest statesman, but you experience-wise, age-wise, development-wise, physically, and just like mentally knowing the game and having done that, like it's just attrition. You're eventually going to be the most seasoned, and he is now starting-wise not, but this is going into his third year at Texas. Like that's a lot of experience, and now he's got a room caps behind him with Diabell. They lost Trey Owens to the portal, but I mean they got a serious room there. Talking Peyton called his own plays in college, and that was just unheard of, but called his own plays in college. And after Arch too, keep your eyes peeled. He's in 8th grade right now. Marshall Manning is Peyton's son. And
Ooh.
so there's a Manning after the Manning after the Manning after the Manning. They just keep coming.
It's like the royal family, but in college football and NFL.
But hey, they're running out of SEC schools, Jackson, so you could be up for Marshall. Take it.
It's a possibility. Or maybe Ole Miss gets them again. Who knows?
Yeah.
Man, it's like that story of when, oh man. We'll definitely wait and see what's happening. And Ahmad Hardy, he did have a pretty good season. Like somebody's gonna be happy to get him in the draft.
Yep.
Somebody's gonna be happy.
Yep.
I mean, the Jets already have an extra draft pick from the Colts, which Colts are run by morons, obviously. So I mean, maybe the Jets won't make a bad decision, but again, we'll wait and see. And the Rams, here's what I'm thinking. Let me know what you think of this. Because we don't know the status of Matthew Stafford after 2026. I think the Rams, because, I mean, they already got an extra draft pick from the Falcons. I think they need to have Ty Simpson as the QB in waiting for the Rams. Have him sit behind Matthew Stafford. Just sit behind him, learn from him. And whenever Stafford retires, whether if it's after 2026, after 2027, you get Ty Simpson taking over.
Yeah. I know he did bad in preseason, but is Stetson Bennett still there technically? Okay. Yeah, he threw a bunch of picks. Was it 2 years ago in preseason? And they held on to him, but Simpson's obviously more coveted as an NFL prospect than Stetson Bennett. So, yeah, I would like that. I'm a huge fan, too, of guys sitting the bench in the NFL versus just being thrust right in. It usually doesn't work out. You got like Aaron Rodgers worked out. Tom Brady sat the bench for what? Half a season, 3/4 of a season before he started over Drew Bledsoe because of the injury. Like, if Brady starts week 1, is his confidence just shattered from the start? Do we see the Tom Brady that became?
And Jalen Hurts sat behind Wentz.
There you go.
Jordan Love sat behind the bench behind Aaron Rodgers. And we remember 2020, people were just foaming at the mouth, pissed that the Eagles would draft Hurts, even after knowing they have Carson Wentz after giving that contract extension. But you know what that told me? That told me they knew they screwed the pooch by giving Wentz way too much money. He didn't play in the playoffs for the 2017 season. He didn't have anything to do with that late season run to getting that playoff spot for the 2018 season. They knew they screwed up deep down by giving him all that money. And they're like, you know what? We're going to get Jalen Hurts from Oklahoma, and we're going to see where that takes us. Boom. Hurts is making magic for the Eagles. The Packers waiting it out for Jordan Love when the time's right. And Aaron Rodgers, it's like, we got to say bye-bye to Aaron Rodgers. Say bye-bye. So there you go. And it's paid off nicely, although the Packers have some discussions to think about after 2026 with their head coach. But that's another time for another day. But the Rams have a good chance to really do – oh, how could I forget the Chiefs? Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes, 2017. Smith leaves, Mahomes takes over.
Lamar Jackson played behind Flacco too, didn't he, for a year?
Yeah, 2018.
I think Lamar's just a freak of an athlete. I think he would have caught on eventually anyways, but I like the Mahomes call out too, because you're right, he played a year behind him. There's just I get the money side of it. I get it, especially nowadays. There's so much money tied to these first round guys, these signing bonuses and all that. Like, it's hard to justify. We just drafted a QB top 15 and he's sitting the bench. Like, that's hard to math, but long term, just like look at Anthony Richardson. What they start him right away? Like, terrible. Crashed and burned. I'm not saying it can't thrive. Peyton did awful in his first year in the NFL too, but eventually he got it. But I would say he's more of an anomaly than most others. Most end up like AR. Just start him too early.
Oh, yeah. And I forgot to mention Tyrod Taylor at the Bills starting for a year. Then Josh Allen takes over.
That's right. That's right.
Same thing with Baker Mayfield. So worked out nicely. Although the Browns wanted an adult, which I don't understand their judgment, but I don't think any human being will ever understand their judgment. But but yeah, I think McVay could do something like that.
Yeah,
I think,
like
yeah, he's gonna get Ty. I think he could. I think he could get Ty Simpson, just kind of sit behind Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Because Matthew, I think, regardless of what happens in 2026, whether you see a Super Bowl run, NFC title, whatever.
Yeah.
He's going to be retiring after 2026.
Yeah.
He wants to be at home. He wants to be home with his little girl.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a sweet video that I saw where he's just tucking her in, all that. So I thought that was nice. And that's what he did. He does wear it loose. Like, that's a good day right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good list by Matt Chadwick, but I do have some questions about it. I'll basically have to make sure to get him on here on SEC at the Voice of College Football. Just kind of ask him some questions. But we'll definitely be waiting and seeing what happens with the World College Football. 215 days till week 0. Countdown. And Peter, we're sorry for taking so long, man. This is longer than planned, but that's the
fun. It's all good.
That's part of like the South and the Midwest. We're always like having too long conversation where it's like, oh, goodbye. Oh. It's like, oh, hey, did you see this? Hey, goodbye. It's like, it's always like that. But I'm like, better get a bag ready.
Yeah.
But I will say though, Peter, what magic are you cooking up on X, good buddy?
Having fun with all sports, like you said. Anything from NASCAR to baseball to hockey, college football, NFL. I like it all, listen to it all. Basketball. My Sabres are 18-3-1 in their last 22 games right now. So I was celebrating Adrian Autry being fired. We talked about earlier for Cuse basketball earlier today. So I covered all. Check me out on YouTube as well, Pigskin PD Pod. I do a lot of shorts. I just kind of impulse grab my phone and record them. I call myself kind of a fanalist, not an analyst, but I just like to have fun with sports. And figured, if something breaks, if I hear about something on Twitter or anywhere else, or listen to podcasts like yours, like that's where I get my news and my ideas and my stories and my what ifs. And just football's fun. Sports is fun. So I talk about it all, and you can check me out those places. But appreciate you having me on, Jackson. It's been good talking to you and officially meeting, and I'll continue to listen to you.
Oh, that's for sure. I've got a good feel this is going to be the first of many collaborations, man. It's fun. It's fun talking to you. Tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers post about the magic that Peter brings on Pigskin PD on /Twitter. Let's get him over to 30,000 followers, ladies and gentlemen. And you can check me out on Jackson Johnson 979, where I've got some episodes of the Jackson coming up. And you can also check me out on Alabama with the Voice of College Football, and on /Twitter on JacksonBCFB, and on Instagram at threads Jackson Johnson 543908. And with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss no video whatsoever. And we will see y'all soon. See you Wednesday night, everybody.